The observation deck of the Celestial Harbinger fell silent as Sergeant Lyra Venn walked into the training arena with Cub Core padding beside her. Representatives from 7 different species pressed against the reinforced viewing glass, their various appendages, sensory organs, and communication devices all trained on the human woman and the creature at her side. Cub Core was no ordinary animal. He was a juvenile Kryvax, a species that had terrorized the outer colonies for 3 generations. Full-grown, a Kryvax stood 12 feet at the shoulder, possessed jaws capable of crushing starship hull plating, and harbored an instinctual hatred for anything that moved. They were apex predators on 17 different worlds, intelligent enough to open airlocks but too savage to ever be reasoned with, and this human walked beside one like it was a pet. Ambassador Threll of the Coronid Collective clicked his mandibles nervously. This is madness. The human will be torn apart. We should stop this demonstration. Commander Vox of the Drath Military Command remained silent, his 3 eyes unblinking. He had seen humans do impossible things during the war. He would reserve judgment. In the arena, Lyra knelt down to inspect the training equipment. Cub Core, barely 5 months old but already the size of an earth lion, immediately bounded toward a suspended training dummy. His scales, midnight black with hints of crimson along the ridge, rippled as he coiled his powerful legs and leaped. The dummy swung wildly as Core's claws raked across it. "Core down," Lyra said calmly, not even looking at him. The cub ignored her, attacking the dummy with increased fervor. Shredded synthetic material began to fall like snow. Lyra stood and walked toward him with measured steps. "Core down." The cub spun toward her, prey drive fully activated. In the observation deck, several representatives stepped back from the glass instinctively. A Kryvax in hunting mode was death incarnate, regardless of age. Core's lips pulled back, revealing rows of serrated teeth designed to rend flesh from bone. A low growl emanated from his chest, a sound that registered on frequencies that made several species' survival instincts scream. He bunched his muscles and lunged, but not at her throat. Not at her legs. He snapped at her sleeve. It was a test, a challenge. A juvenile attempt to establish dominance, to see if this strange, soft creature would yield to him as prey, should yield to predator. Lyra's hand moved faster than most of the observers could track. Her finger extended and she tapped Core firmly on the nose, just once, precise and controlled. No. The effect was instantaneous and shocking. Cub Core's aggressive posture melted away. His ears flattened, his tail tucked, and then, to the absolute astonishment of every being in the observation deck, the young apex predator rolled onto his back, exposing his vulnerable belly and throat to the human. Submission. Complete and total. Ambassador Threll's mandibles hung open. Impossible. The Kryvax do not submit. It is not in their genetic coding. We have studied them for decades. Lyra crouched beside Core, running her hand along his exposed stomach. The cub's rear leg kicked involuntarily, a puppy-like response that seemed absurd on a creature built for slaughter. She scratched behind his ear ridge, and a sound emerged from Core that no Kryvax had ever been recorded making. A purr. "Good boy," Lyra murmured. "That's my good boy." She stood and gestured for Core to follow. He immediately rolled back to his feet and trotted beside her, his previous aggression completely forgotten. She led him through a series of commands: sit, stay, come, heel, and each time, the predator cub obeyed with an eagerness that bordered on desperation to please her. Commander Vox activated the communication panel. "Sergeant Venn, the observers have questions. How is this possible?" Lyra looked up at the observation deck, shielding her eyes from the lights. "How is what possible, sir? The Kryvax are among the most dangerous predators in known space. They have never been domesticated, never been controlled. Many species have tried. All have failed. Yet you make it look effortless." A small smile crossed Lyra's face. "With respect, Commander, every species that tried approached it wrong. They saw the Kryvax as monsters to be dominated through force or technology. They forgot something fundamental." "Which is?" Ambassador Threll demanded, his translation device crackling with his agitation. "Predators aren't monsters. They're just animals. And humans have been working with predatory animals since before we had written language." Lyra knelt again, and Core immediately sat beside her, leaning his massive head against her shoulder. "On Earth we domesticated wolves. creatures that hunted in packs and could kill humans easily. We turned them into dogs, into companions. We learned to read their body language, to understand their social structures, to communicate on their terms. She scratched under Kor's chin, and the cub's eyes half closed in contentment. Kor here isn't evil. He's not a monster. He's a baby learning about the world. Yes, he's got instincts that make him dangerous, but he's also got instincts that make him social, that make him want to belong to a pack, that make him seek approval from a pack leader. And you established yourself as that leader, Commander Vox observed. I earned it, every day, through consistency, clear communication, and understanding what motivates him. Lyra stood, and Kor stood with her, his eyes fixed on her face with absolute devotion. When he snapped at my sleeve, he wasn't trying to hurt me. He was testing boundaries, seeing if I'd back down, if I'd react with fear or aggression. I did neither. I corrected him calmly and clearly. No fear, no anger, just a simple no. That's what pack leaders do. She walked toward the observation deck, Kor padding along beside her with perfect heel alignment. The tap on the nose was a minor correction. Uncomfortable for a second, but not painful, not cruel. It interrupted his behavior and got his attention. The instant submission? That's him acknowledging that I'm in charge, that I make the rules. And now that he knows I'm in charge, he feels secure, safe. He doesn't have to make decisions or worry about his place in the hierarchy. He can just be a cub. Ambassador Threll shook his head slowly. Your species domesticated apex predators for companionship, for fun. For work, mostly at first. Wolves helped us hunt and guarded our camps. Horses carried us across continents. Birds of prey hunted alongside us. But yes, eventually for companionship too. Lyra's expression softened as she looked down at Kor. Humans have always understood something important. The line between predator and companion is thinner than most species think. It just takes patience, knowledge, and the willingness to meet them where they are. Commander Vox leaned forward. And you believe you can train adult Kryvax the same way? I think we can establish communication protocols, yes. It'll be harder, they're already set in their ways, but possible. The key is starting young, like with Kor. Raise them with proper socialization, clear boundaries, and consistent positive reinforcement, and you don't get a monster. You get a partner. As if to emphasize her point, Kor looked up at Lyra and made a questioning chirp. She smiled and gave a hand signal. Immediately, the cub performed a perfect sit-stay, then lay down, resting his massive head on his paws. His tail wagged slowly, another behavior that no adult Kryvax had ever displayed. The observation deck remained silent for a long moment. Then Commander Vox spoke, his voice carrying a note of something that might have been respect or might have been fear, or both. Sergeant Venn, your demonstration has been enlightening. The Council will convene to discuss the implications. As Lyra led Kor out of the arena, Ambassador Threll turned to the other observers. Do you understand what we just witnessed? Humans didn't just survive on a death world. They befriended it. They took the predators that should have killed them and turned them into family. Commander Vox nodded slowly, and now they walk among the stars still carrying that same instinct. They see a creature that has terrorized the galaxy for generations, and their first thought isn't, how do we destroy it? It's, can I pet it? In the corridor outside, Lyra reached into her pocket and produced a treat, synthesized protein designed specifically for Kryvax nutritional needs. Kor took it gently from her hand, careful not to catch her fingers with his teeth. She ruffled the scales on his head affectionately. Come on, boy, let's go home. As they walked away, Cub Kor stayed close to her side, occasionally looking up at his human with eyes full of simple, uncomplicated adoration. The apex predator of 17 worlds had found his pack, and he would follow his pack leader anywhere, even to the stars.